everyone. I'm so happy that you're here with me. If we haven't met yet, my name is Jen, and I am a certified life coach for busy, high achieving women who feel overwhelmed, burned out, and just kind of stuck in the cycle of doing everything for everybody else. And I'm really excited to be here with you today because we're going to be taking the next 4 weeks together to really dive into a topic that I love. It's boundaries. And we're going to be going through the boundary basics. I'm actually going to give you the exact words to use as we move forward. And I'm just really passionate about this topic because so often boundaries get like a bad name. People just think that you're putting up a wall or you're like completely pushing people out of your life, and that's not the case. A boundary is simply a way of stating something that you need to help the relationship be a little bit healthier for both people. And I just want you to know that if you do feel stuck like in this cycle of doing everything for everybody else and people pleasing and saying yes when you want to say no, I used to be there at the exact same place. I used to be stuck on that hamster wheel of life and saying yes out of guilt and running on empty and really wondering like when it would finally be my turn to put myself back on my priority list. So if you're nodding already as we're going through this, just welcome. You're not alone. Just know that you're in the right place. And over the next 4 weeks together, we're really going to dive into this topic. So let me ask you something. Have you ever said yes to something like a favor, a meeting, a family obligation, and then immediately felt a pit in your stomach like, ugh, why did I do that? Why did I say yes again? I don't have the time or the energy or the bandwidth for this. But then you push through anyway because canceling feels mean or selfish or just not what a good woman or mom or friend does. Yeah, I know that feeling really well. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I agreed to help a friend move in over on a weekend when I was already totally maxed out, 2 kid events, laundry piling up, work stress, like the whole 9 yards. I'm sure that you can relate and you've been there. But when she asked, like I heard myself say, sure, what time? And I was mad at myself the whole time for saying it, not at her, but at me. She has the right to ask for help, but I needed to learn how to kind of really stick up for myself and learn to say no with kindness and confidence, right? And I was just really mad at myself and I felt like resentful. I'm like, I cannot believe that I said yes to this when I already have so much going on. And I knew I didn't have the capacity. And on the other hand, I didn't want to disappoint her because I'd already said yes. By Sunday night, I was exhausted after helping her move, resentful, and totally snapping at the rest of my family because usually we take the weekend to get caught up for the week and kind of prep and just set ourselves up for success. And I wasn't able to do that because I was helping her. And my family took the brunt of that, right? Because I was snappy and mean and overly tired. And that was all because I didn't honor my own needs. Okay. And this is where I want to give you my little speech about self-care and taking care of yourself and putting yourself on your priority list is not selfish. It's really self-preservation because when you don't take care of yourself, everybody else in your family, everybody else that relies on you, they suffer, right? Because they're not getting the best of you and neither are you. But when you take the time to set boundaries and take care of yourself and put yourself on your priority list and fill your own cup, then you're able to better serve those people that really need you, including yourself. And this story kind of really stuck with me, and it's something that I share with all of my clients when they're starting their boundary work. It is really, really important to honor and recognize what you need in order to show up in your highest capacity. But excuse me, I realized I wasn't just tired from like that weekend. I was tired from a lifetime of saying yes when I meant to say no. So let's talk about where that guilt comes from. Guilt often is a signal that you're doing something new, something different than what your people-pleasing brain has been trained to do, right? This brain is designed to keep us where we are right now because that's comfortable and it feels okay, right? When we start to do something new, when we start to set a boundary, when we start to put ourselves on our priority list and say no with kindness and grace, that's uncomfortable. And our brain says, oh my gosh, you're being attacked by a tiger. Let's just stay comfortable and keep doing the people-pleasing, okay? But it's just the discomfort of change that's setting off those like alarms in our brain. And before we go deeper, let's just get clear on something really important. What is a boundary really? A boundary is simply what's okay and not okay with you. Okay? It's a limit that you set to protect your time, your energy, and your emotional well-being. It's a decision you make ahead of time about how you want to be treated and what you're available for. Boundaries are not about controlling other people. They're about honoring yourself. So here's the truth that I really want you to hold on to and walk away with today is saying no is not selfish. It's self-preservation. right? We just talked about that. When you say yes to something that drains you, you're also saying no to rest, to peace, or something you need. So let's reframe the guilt. Saying no to others means saying yes to yourself. Okay, boundaries aren't walls, they're doors with doorknobs that you control. I love that analogy. And here's what I hear all the time. I just don't know what to say in the moment, Jen, because words can be really hard when you're not used to setting boundaries. When you first start setting boundaries, it's really hard to come up with the words. So what I have done and what I have my clients do is we practice. Like, we know those situations that are coming up that we want to say no to, right? Like, you know that the PTO president's going to come ask you to be on a committee, or you know that the teacher is going to ask you to be the mom, or you know the volleyball coach is going to ask you to be the team mom because you've done it every other year, right? And if you don't have the bandwidth to do that, that's okay. But it's really helpful to have the words ahead of time and be practicing them in your head so that when that moment comes up, you're prepared. And nowhere in this presentation am I saying not to be kind and do things you want to do. Okay, that's not the point of this. The point of boundaries is to start setting a boundary with something that you don't want to do because you know it's going to affect your peace of mind, your well-being, your emotional, physical, or mental well-being. So here are a couple go-to phrases that you can try the rest of this week that I give to my clients. I wish I could help, but I already have too much on my plate right now. That's not going to work for me, but I hope it goes well. Thanks for thinking of me. I need to pass this time. As people pleasers, we also want to give a reason. And you can if you want, but you don't have to. You can just say no with kindness and grace, like these words are these words are giving you. So these are loving, they're clear, and they're firm, right? There's no room for interpretation. You don't need to over-explain or justify yourself, and you definitely don't need to apologize for honoring your capacity. Also remember this. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you're teaching your nervous system that your needs don't matter. But every time you do say no with confidence, you're rewriting that story and reclaiming your peace. And for those of you that are mamas or dads with children, when you're setting these boundaries and your children are noticing them, it's teaching them also that it's okay for them to set boundaries and for them to honor their peace and for them to honor themselves and for them to do what they want to do. Again, with compromise. So also keep that in mind, that you're setting the example and kind of breaking possibly a generational pattern of people pleasing. So if you've been nodding like all along during this live and thinking, okay, I need to get better at this, I really want to invite you to take the next step and book with me a free personalized life assessment call where we're going to hop on the phone and just talk about boundaries or where you're struggling with in your life right now. And you'll walk away from that call with 2 to 3 tangible things that you can do right now, whether that's joining me as your life coach or in my mastermind, or a couple of things that you can do on your own. We'll see if it's a good fit for us to work together. But regardless of what the outcome is and regardless of what decision I help you come to, you're going to walk away with some things you can do right now. So these sessions are free. All you have to do is comment call wherever you're watching this from, and I will send you a link for a form. On that form, it's just going to allow you to give me a couple times in the next week or so that work for you, and then I will honor one of those times and get the call scheduled. Okay? So thanks for hanging out with me today. You're not alone in this, and you don't have to figure it out by yourself. I'll see you next week for part 2 of our boundary basics. Right here on Instagram and Facebook, or you may be watching this on YouTube or replay in my newsletter. So we're going to do a 4-part series. This is just part 1 of how to set a boundary without burning a bridge is what we're going to be up to next week. So until then, say no and say yes to you. Have an amazing day. I'll talk to you soon.